Hello, all you delightful creatures, and welcome to the Laughing Fox Tarot, and welcome back if you're returning. Today I have for you all another pick a card reading, and the theme of today's reading is inspired by the card of the Two of Swords. Specifically, I was drawn to this card from the deck Ethereal Visions, and it inspired the theme of today's reading, which is asking the question of what is my blind spot? Or perhaps more specifically, what blind spot is currently getting in my way? It's natural to have some blind spots, even as we do inner work and looking within. We are always growing, always plunging our depths and learning more about ourselves. And just tuning in with the energy of this card. For me, I'm seeing this as, blind spots aren't inherently a bad thing, right? They oftentimes can be our source of greatest growth or potential, and we only need to tap into maybe the things that we are not as good at or pay as much attention to or didn't think we liked as much, or shut ourselves off from for one reason or another. And I'm just seeing in this card, look at this person as they are blindfolded and they have their arms crossed. They're closed off from everything else, but they're it's almost as if they are purposely tuning out to tune in, right? That idea of one sense gets closed off and the others become brighter. I'm seeing pretty much purposeful experiencing of a lack of whatever, in order to understand it in its wholeness. Right? How hard is it for most people to appreciate wealth unless they've experienced poverty, or hunger, or food unless they haven't experienced hunger? It's like experiencing the opposites, the ends, the things that seem to not go hand in hand, but in fact complete each other. And really the biggest message from this card is this blind spot is that missing piece of the puzzle for a feeling of something that's missing from whatever it is that you're doing, whatever in your life that doesn't feel like it's working right now. It's the blind spot that has the answers. And this person willingly, right? They've blindfolded themselves. They've sequestered themselves. We might not always willfully, consciously cut ourselves off from our blind spots, cut ourselves off from whatever. But we can willingly make the choice to explore that more, to be curious about what it has to say. And to allow the possibility that it has more to say than might be initially thought. If we have to specifically put us in a place where we can hear it. To tune out things that we might be either using or just in our environment, that the din of noise that generally can cloud things like this and keep them hidden from us. At this time, this thing is doing us no good in the shadows. Okay, so that is just that's for every pile here. And this card will be kind of like the overarching energy. And I'm trying to find a good place to put it, but I can't really see one, but that's fine, because in the spirit of asking the question about blind spots, this is going to be a blind pick. There's not going to be any other information here to go off of other than you have piles number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you're welcome now to use your intuition however you like to tune into one or more piles that may have a message for you. I like to close my eyes and take a deep breath in. And as I breathe out, I open my eyes, and whichever pile or piles are meant for me, I will be drawn to. Well, however you do it, I will see you over at your reading. Timestamps, as always, will be down below. And again, the question we're asking today is, what blind spot needs attending to? Okay, I'll see you in your reading. Bye. Hello. Pile number 1. If you picked this card, pile number 1, then this is your reading for today. I feel like I've already done a lot of talking with the Two of Swords, so I'm just going to go ahead and hop right into your card. And we have overcoming obstacles. You can overcome anything. And here we have a precarious ledge through the mountains. And on top of all that, there's a giant boulder with a sword sticking out of it, blocking your path. And the message here, of course, is you can overcome anything. Well, I do want to pull some more cards with this. There is already a sense of feeling small, feeling much smaller than you are in reality, and kind of moving. Your actions have been based off of that for some time, and this is like something that has been suffusing pretty much all that you do. You might be giving yourself more, you might be doing more for yourself in so many ways, but in a lot of ways it's still coming off, it is still being held back, right? There's still like a natural dimming that is going on. And it's like a defense mechanism of yours to not appear so bright. And this is something that, again, because it's in the subconscious, this happens even when you are perfectly alone. Even when you are feeling in your element and you're feeling more yourself. There's still this sense of smallness. This tiny bird here is just thinking, I have no hope of moving this. I have no hope. I cannot cross. And yet they can just fly over. They have, if they get stuck in this perspective, right, of looking at an obstacle from the means that they have usually, right, from this place of smallness, this place of like, I can only do so much on my own, and I cannot possibly do that. Like, someone else has to do that for me, right? And you can get stuck in that perspective that says like, oh, I can't do this. It's not possible. When you really have your own unique solution to it already. And that solution requires you to not be small, right? It requires you to be big, to be bold, to be bright, to shine. And you do shine. That's the funny thing about blind spots. It's not that you do not shine. It is that when it comes to affairs of your own, for you, this is for you personally, that you can still find yourself sliding back into this. And the reason it is a blind spot is because you can see how effectively you can help others or stand up for others, or when it's anything that's not your own situation, right? It's so much easier to shine for someone else. This is about shining for you. I'm gonna go ahead and pull some cards. This is the Spacious Tarot, and it's very chatty today. Okay. We have the Elder of Cups, the Explorer of Swords, and that'll go for there. Two of Cups for now. With the King of Cups here, I'm seeing I'm seeing perception, and there's very much this like same like size difference dynamic going on, right? We have the little bird here looking at this massive boulder, and then we have this fish in water looking at this cup, and they're like wondering if like, is that me? Is that mine? Is that what I'm worth? Like there's this a perception, and there's like this murkiness of the water, right? And there's a feeling of wanting, right? And their gaze is focused solely on this cup right now. And they're wondering if like that's what they are. And they're kind of looking at it and they're like, it's not really what I want. But I see it in front of me. And therefore, is that not what I'm worth? Like, it's as if like this cup just kind of plopped in the water in front of them. They saw that and said, well, this must be what I'm worth. Instead of just being like, oh, that's not my cup. Right? It's that, and it's in a way too, it's like seeing this tiny cup and seeing that and like almost having that confirm your belief, right? You see this opportunity to get a little bit more practical, right? You see something comes into your life and it doesn't quite light you up, but you think, oh, well, this thing appeared in my life, therefore that is what life is telling me that I am worth. Instead of, this is an opportunity to look at that and be like, no, thank you, and move on. Because you have two choices here. You can stay here with this and be like, this is mine and this is what I am, or you can move on and something bigger and better will come along your way. Here we have Explorer of Swords, and I love that these two birds, they're both taking a look at the sword. What is it about sword? It's the idea. It's okay, right? Both these birds are looking at the sword. They're looking at this thing that they really want, right? It's not this tiny cup. They it's they know. But if there's this idea, right, of this bird stepping out onto this and it just like plummeting, there's a bit of that unbalance in there, and they're wondering how do I remain balanced? Well, this can't work out. That's gravity. That's just gonna fall. And like, there's like a very practical sense here is what I'm getting. There's like a practical thought pattern, and I'm hearing practical again, reinforcing in the sense that this is habitual. This is something that has pervaded most of your life. This familiar way of thinking. And so there's this halting here, right? These birds, they're not about to move forward. They're about to continue staring at their dreams because of everything that their mind is telling them. Right? Don't step out on that. That's going to fall. You can't possibly lift that sword out of the stone. You're not big enough. You're not strong enough. You're not whatever enough. Of course, these things are only true if you believe they are. We have the Two of Cups, and that was coming in reverse, but I'll flip it around for the moment. We have the Two of Cups here. I'm wanting to bring up the Elder Cups again. There's balance here, right, with the twos. And we had, again, balance coming up in this card here. And, over providing over the whole reading, we have the Two of Swords. So there's a balance here. There's a balance and a fear of balance. And this is where the feelings of feeling small are coming in. Of that balance, right? When you've spent so much of your life in that energy, in that space of dimming yourself to fit in, to make peace, for whatever reason, anything on the opposite end can like feel so foreign. Not only foreign, but like dangerous or imbalanceable. Or perhaps like the ideas that we have, imbalanceable. That's not a word, but it's what you're getting. There's a sense of whatever ideas that you have are too big, right? And what I'm seeing here is that it's not. whatever ideas that you're having are not too grand to pull off. There is like, this is kind of a weird message that I'm trying to word right now. There's a sense of whatever you're working towards that is too grand, and part of that is from that perspective of being small, right? Anything's going to seem wildly out of proportion. And while you may not have you may not always have a clear view of what it is, like specifically, in terms of like the details of what you're working on, there's a sense of murkiness. In here I'm seeing like a very clear like sight on what is, but then there are feelings of murkiness too. And it's that fear and worry that's getting in the way. And really what was trying to come through here is to not worry about how big the dream is. Maybe sometimes when the dream comes to you, it will be just like this grand, just like blown up out of proportion, wouldn't happen in a million years. That's not important. One, don't discount whatever it is. Two, those dreams are still building your reality, right? The balance comes into your day-to-day actions, which is small, consistent steps, right? There's a level of discipline here, small, consistent steps, and if you're worrying about this balance between being able to take these steps and to continue to build whatever it is that you're bringing into your life, and that fear of like toppling over the edge, specifically in regards to like how you see your vision, the cards are saying that it's not something that you need to worry about. It's not helpful for you to be worrying about that. I'm seeing like policing your own thoughts, this is part of like the dimming too. Part of the reason that you dim is because you have these thoughts and you're just like, oh no, that's too much. That's inappropriate. Whether it's like you want a certain size house or money or business or community group or whatever it is, and you think of that and you're just like, nah, it's too much. I have to think of something more practical. Right? There's that practical thinking again that's holding you back, because that practical thinking is rooted still in that feeling of being small. And that's why your dreams are so big and bright right now. Because that is that part of you that's yearning out for those things. And the worry about whether or not like that's the right form of your dream is not helpful. If you allow yourself to really keep it in your mind while balancing out the consistent small daily steps. This is a difference, and I wasn't really seeing this here, but I'll call out the difference, which is, the difference is that like not making progress forward, and possibly this is in your past, but not making progress forward because maybe all that was done are like big grand gestures, and that like a lot of your energy goes to, and then you burn out really quickly, which may be something that you've dealt with in the past, again, with like this balance and kind of going out on the extremes. But just because, again, that's the way things have been, does not mean that is what they'll be like now. Balancing dreams and reality. Making the two meet and combine. For a final message, I'm getting here with the Two of Cups. And seeing with the fish here as well, and the King of Cups. I'm seeing them literally like jumping in and out of these two cups, and like they're as if they're trying them out. And the message that was coming with the Two Cups is a reminder that you are not your possessions, you are not your wealth, you are not the things that you own or your job or the people around you or anything. So if there's a little bit of the motivation here, right, the fish is just like staring longingly at this cup and being like, is that me? Is that what I'm worth? Again, it's a reminder that no, you're not worth just what happens to be in front of you right at this moment. But also to not let but never let that limit or define you. Do enjoy what you have in front of you, right? Do enjoy. Our lives always go through periods of less and more, kind of swinging out on that pendulum, right? Do enjoy what you have here. 2 lovely cups of tea. But don't ever let that define you. Don't ever let that limit you. Limit your sight, limit your vision. And there's a sense here, a little bit of getting lost in these cups before, right? Really identifying with them, really taking on the shape of them, and maybe like mixing in with them in ways that you can lose yourself. And that's part of the dimming too, right? You dim yourself, you make yourself smaller so you fit in. And that's all the reminder was an emphasis on that idea. If you're having to do something to make yourself fit in, then it's not a fit for you. And that's okay. It's okay to try things out and to see how they fit. And that's okay too. Okay, delightful pile number 1. This is all I have for you today for your reading. If you enjoyed your reading, please do leave a like and possibly a comment down below to let me know how it connected with you. If you like what I'm doing and would like to support me, I have a Ko-fi down below where you can find out details to get a personal reading or donate to me, or I as well do make some handmade runes, which you can find out more information about there. Otherwise, if you tune into any of the other cards for a reading, you can hop over now, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hello and welcome back. If you picked pile number 2, then this is your reading for today. I've already talked a bit about the 2 of Swords, so let's just hop right into your card. And we have Breaking Trail. We have here a fellow with a scythe, and they're carving their way through a wheat field, and a breakthrough is at hand. This person is in the thick of it. And they're very focused on what they're doing right now. I'm getting a sense of this from this card of like the blind side is like very literally like circumstances feel a bit over your head and feel like a bit really in it to see much else. And that sort of dedication, that sort of hard work has been very good for you. It's been very helpful for you to work on that sort of consistency and focus at this recent leg of your journey. I do want to read this one from the book, The Sacred Traveler. Breaking Trail. Card meaning. You're at the beginning of a breakthrough. Everything you've been doing for the past few years has been preparation for what's ahead. There are instances, there are instances when the path isn't clear ahead, and in those moments, sometimes you need to break trail. In your life, it may seem that the path disappears. However, the only way to reach your destination is to push through. Keep going. Do things in a new way. Imagine a woman giving birth. It's hard, but through her great effort, a baby comes into being. Something new and exciting is coming into your life. And the Sacred Traveler wants you to know, it's not about following the path ahead, but creating your own trail. It's time to stop standing on the edge of life and just take a leap. Your patience is going to pay off. Old limitations and inner blockages are dropping away. Don't let fear keep you from moving forward. This is truly the time to allow yourself to experience the fear, but do it anyways. Something for which you've waited for a long time is about to come to fruition. Don't be afraid to jump in with both feet. Your efforts will help create a trail for others. So the first blind sight right out of the gate is you not seeing you not seeing your worth, what you've created, what you have been doing up to this point. So if you've been feeling a bit stressed out, a bit maybe like your work isn't paying off, a bit like you're behind or whatever, like this is like, take a deep breath. You have been in it. You have been working it. And now is definitely, there's no better time. There's no bad time to not appreciate. Did I get those negatives wrong? There is no better time than now to appreciate what you've been doing. Whether, you're continuing doing the work or you take a break, whatever, it's just to appreciate you and your work. But this is no small thing. This isn't an instant of you overworking yourself. This idea is a blind spot. So it is something that has been pervasive for you in your life. It has colored much of what you do in your life. And so this is a little bit more than saying yes to stop and celebrate, although definitely do. But let's go ahead and pull some more cards here. This is the Spacious Tarot, which I'm wanting to work with more. Okay. Okay. Sure. We have here the Elder of Pentacles. We have a bear holding a large coin, and they're kind of just vibing out in a field. The Seven of Cups. And the Ace of Swords. I'm imagining, right, that this field was once like full, just kind of following along with this story here. This field was once full of wheat, and now like they're just looking up and like finally seeing like, oh wow, they've cleared the whole thing out. And in a small sense, that's talking a little bit about like overworking and overdoing it, right? Maybe you won't realize what you've had until you stop and appreciate it, sort of thing, where you, if you don't appreciate it for long enough, you won't realize it until it's gone. I'm getting a little bit of that, but really it's not really the focus here. The focus is on really you and you forging that deep connection both ways with what you are creating and doing, right? With you really connecting in with what it is you're creating and how it serves you specifically. Oftentimes we can find ourselves in positions. Growing up, we may have learned that we need to perform to be accepted. We need to be providing something in order to be loved. This is not true. We are always worthy of love. Our worth does not come from what we create or what we do or even how we do it. So there's a question here of what is the motivation behind why you are doing what you do? What is driving you back out into the fields every day? Is it you? Or is it a sense of something you must do, a duty? And where does that duty come from? I'm seeing you out here in the fields just basking in your efforts, And again, there isn't a specific message about taking a rest or needing to appreciate. This is more of asking yourself why. Why are you doing what you're doing right now? And being able to answer that honestly with yourself. Seven of Cups, often the card of choices. Choices and options, and all these, in this card here, they're all tumbling. They're all tumbling, and some of them are spilling. It doesn't look like these are great choices. It feels like being offered like droplets. Some of these cups are empty. Some of these are like full of like a brackish, like very suspect fluid. These don't feel like very desirable choices. And the reason this is coming up is because this is what you get when you don't have that clear motivation. It's not anything, you don't have that clear motivation that feels good to you. I'm not saying that there is a sense of not being guided, because there is a motivation here. But the question is, why? The question is what? Which one of these cups is yours? Are any of them, right? That with the work that you're doing, what is your cup? Can you name it? Can you see it? Can you feel it in your heart? Is it the thing that is driving you? Or perhaps were you handed a cup that's got a hole in the bottom, and well, it's kind of just dingy too, and it's seen better days, and it's certainly not your cup. There is a sense of there is good to be had from this situation, of course, which is I'm seeing you are working on something related to, if not specifically what you are wanting to do. It is merely the way that you are motivated to do it is changing what is possible for you right now. And so while it feels maybe some days like you're breaking more than trail, you're struggling through things sometimes. The reason being is it's not able to serve you as well at this moment. But the work that you've been putting into it, the work that you have been doing, is all work for your future. It is all things that are leading you to this breakthrough. It is all things that have grown you. And in that way, certainly none of this has been a loss for you. It is merely an acknowledgement of some feeling here, of feeling a bit worn out, and feeling a bit underfulfilled. But I am seeing you here, right? Ace of Swords, it's you championing your cause. And that's really all there is to your situation here. I know I said maybe there's a little bit more here, but like this is coming all back to your cause. What is motivating you? What lights you up? Be clear about it. Be direct about it. Make it your mission statement. And watch how it transforms the work that you do. Instantly, everything will become lighter. Everything will become more clear. You won't feel as if you're diving. You're in the thick of it. The fields are over your head, and you don't know where you're going. You'll know in your heart where you're going. And perhaps even just being clear with this will allow you to see that, oh yeah, everything that you have done is absolutely the steps that were required. And it's just understanding the reasoning behind it. I love this happy little bear with their coin in the field. One final message that I'm getting through here is it does not need to be this grand, complex thing. It doesn't have to be this altruistic thing. It doesn't have to be this world-saving thing. It doesn't have to be whatever. It has to be for you and your truth and honesty, and whatever it is right for you. So maybe, whether it is not, maybe, if it's not altruistic and it feels selfish, it is not selfish. If it's for you, if it's what lights you up. And maybe, again, you'll know in your heart, but maybe you won't see how that benefits humanity as a whole, or whatever visions you might have for yourself, or like the work that you're doing. But know that it will. It absolutely will. Breaking that trail, you make it so that others that come after you have an easier time to follow in your footsteps, to learn from you, to see that there are other paths forward than the only one that has been carved beforehand. You weaken the dams, you open up space. You're someone who creates space, creates beautiful spaces, is what I'm seeing here. Champion your cause for you. Accept the reasoning that only feels good to your soul. Bask in the glory and just the delightfulness of the spaces that you create. And keep working it. Like you are doing it. And that's incredible. Okay, pile number 2, that is all I have for your reading today. I hope that you found it helpful. If you did, please leave a like on the video and perhaps a comment down below letting me know how it connected with you. If you like what I'm doing and would like to support me, I have a Ko-fi in the description down below, where you can either book a personal reading with me or perhaps donate to me. I also do make some hand-sewn runes, which you can check out there as well. Other than that, if you connected with any of the other piles, then you can hop over to those readings now, and I will see you when I see you. Bye. Hello, pile number 3. If you picked pile number 3, then you're in the right reading. I've already spoken a bit at length about this card, so I'm just going to hop right into your first card here, which we have Voyage of the Heart. Ooh, I haven't seen this one before. Love flows through you and to you. Love flows through you and to you. I like the flow of that. Love flows through you and to you. And here we have a beautiful picture. There's a lot going on here, so I'm just going to give you a chance to kind of tune into what's going on here. I love this, like the star, kind of like the stars in their head and like their starry eyes, and it's like all flowing out from like life into their hand and just out into the world, and like the fishes and the boat and the reefs and all of that just kind of coming up out, like life flows through you and to you. I would love to read this one from the book because I've never run into this card before, and also I feel like it's just gonna have a lovely passage here. So Voyage of the Heart. This is from the Sacred Traveler Oracle cards. Voyage of the Heart. You're beloved. You are deeply loved and profoundly lovable. You are a sacred vessel for love to flow through you. God, the Creator, is love, and in your essence, so are you. In matters of romantic love, all is healing, or is already healed, on the inner planes. Trust the messages from your heart and follow them, even if they are at odds with your mind. Angels and guides are communicating with you. Listen to their soft whispers. The Sacred Traveler wants you to know. Joyous love flows through you and to you. You deserve love. There is nothing you need to do to receive this vibrant energy. Tenderness and devotion are finding their way to you. The Traveler walks with a light heart on the path, knowing that she is surrounded with love. It's truly a day for rejoicing. Your capacity for receiving and giving love is expanding. Let your heart lead you forward. Your mission on earth is to deepen your ability to impart and accept love, and that is happening right now. Wow, gosh, really, really is a lovely, lovely card. I just want to, here, I'm just going to hold this one up again. I love the colors here, with the blue kind of going up into like the peachy yellows and the purples, and I just, it is a really lovely card, and what a fitting card for such a lovely creature, you. So linking this card in with your blind spots, because that is what we are asking about here today, is what blind spot is impacting you. Love flows through you and to you. I'm seeing here there is the sense that there's a feeling of love flows through you. I feel like you definitely get, you hear that and you're like, yes, it absolutely does. I'm a very loving, giving person, and you do recognize that, how much love you share with the world. But and to you, I feel like there's a bit of a pause here, and there's this sense that like this energy, it goes out, but it doesn't always come back in, and it feels like it's not reciprocated. Like maybe you go out on a limb for others and it's not often returned, or you do extra for others, or are often asked extra for others, and you do not feel like there's been a good balance between that. Feeling a little bit drained. Let's go ahead and pull some cards here. Now, there's definitely acknowledgement here of the amount of love that you have, and that's not like egotistical, right? It's just a matter of how how open are you? And the card here is saying like, yeah, you are a font of love. You are a font of just a very loving attitude and perspective, and very giving and very kind, and very in tune with that part of yourself to share that with the world. Let's go ahead and take a look at your cards. We have the Eight of Wands in reverse here. So there's options, there's a feeling of speediness. There's a feeling of, here, I'll pull it up. There's a feeling of, like, these are shooting stars almost. And there's a feeling of, like, missed opportunity here. Like, you see just situations, people passing you by, and you think, oh, well, those were meant for me. That was meant for me. That was mine. And, like, why did it just suddenly leave? And also, like, why are those, like, gone? They almost feel unobtainable that way. They're shooting stars high in the sky that you just seem a little bit out of your reach. And a feeling of like maybe that those things are passing you by for a reason, and that feeling, a creeping doubt that maybe is a bit more recent. It's not something that you haven't experienced before, but there is that doubt of feeling unlovable, right? You know that, you know your love, you see it, you feel it, you express it, but there is that doubt of feeling like unlovable, and it's because you're seeing these situations pass you by. The Hanged One. Oh wow, what a great companion to this last card. There is a feeling of being left out in the cold. There is a feeling of distance, right? This is planet Earth, which you love so much, and you love so much about it. But there's a distance. There's a cold, just dense and yet like open emptiness between you and your love. So ready to give it to others, but there's you, and you feeling separate, if that makes sense. You feeling distant to your own love, but distant to your own love there is, but also that, again, that you're not receiving that from your situations around you. And we have the Guardian of Swords. Here, a crow is perched atop a sword in a rather frosty environment. With the Guardian of Swords, there's again this feeling of being out in the cold, very, very literally. But I'm seeing here all of these, like there's a perspective, right? There's looking up at the shooting stars and looking down at Earth, and then like there's this bird who's kind of put themselves out into this cold wilderness. And so tying back into the Two of Swords here, and with the Hanged Man, these are situations of self-imposed distance. And of course, it might be a difficult thing to ask, like why would I ever close myself off from love? Why would I ever put myself distant to it? Why would that ever be something that I would want? And well, because this is a blind spot. This is something that has been pervasive for your whole life. So this is something that has followed you for much, if not all, of your life. And so there is still the remnants of this, distance, this barrier that gets put up. And I'm seeing here, you're familiar with it. And really, the hardest part about all of it is this is part of the barrier. Right? This endless giving, this perhaps even so much so that like those around you are wowed because they don't they don't know how to meet your contribution, or as is unfortunately in a lot of the cases just are unable to. And like this in its own way becomes a self-defense mechanism to just constantly be the one giving that you don't open yourself up to receiving. And so you create this sort of situation in your blind spot where it feels like others are unable to give back to you, that they don't care about you, or this or that, or whatever story that gets told from this. But that's because it's a story you tell yourself to protect yourself, to keep this fear alive. Because it is scary, right? Getting closer to other people, it when you come from this place, it feels scary. And so it's right under the surface. It's a self-sabotage. And it comes in the most sweetest of senses, in the most beautiful, from an outside perspective, it looks like, oh yes, this person is so loving, caring, and they deserve so much, and you do. But Voyage of the Heart is asking you to see how maybe your tendencies towards relationships actually is what can drive people away. To really understand how your own responsibility for putting the space that exists in your life. And I know it feels like a tough thing to hear, and I know it's not an admonition. Again, this is a blind spot. This is something you don't see unless somebody else tells you. And the difficult thing for your situation is it's hard for anyone to tell you. One, a lot of the people in your life might not have even the understanding or perspective to understand what's going on with you, to even tell you. Or if they did, reaching you right now, it's really hard. You're out here on the moon. You're out here in the wastes. You're out here on the hill, looking and wishing. So it's not even necessarily that there aren't people in your life that would be those that would fill you back up with love, to tell you the things that someone who loves you should say, both in like affirming their love for you and affirming that you are worthy and all of those things, and that we should hear from our loved ones, and on the opposite side telling us, you know, when maybe we were putting ourselves out. But you know, that's what this reading's for too. You got a spirit team and they got your back as well. So we may try to run from ourselves and advice, but it has a habit of cropping up wherever it can. And that's really it. It's just recognizing that this is not like a deep character flaw that is like so terrible. It's just understanding like that you've been putting yourself out a little bit to put a little space because you're afraid of that, you know, that closeness, that love that you are, again, so skilled at actually handing out, but so difficult for you to receive. The advice here feels pretty straightforward. You know, intentionally close that distance. Leave yourself open and available, and to not take any failures in the meantime, right? Any missed connections as confirmation that you are not lovable. Because those are going to happen. You're going to, especially as you leave yourself more open, you're going to have situations where, you know, you wanted it to work out or felt like it was going to work out or just whatever, or they did and it doesn't. And then it's like, oh, well, I'm not lovable because that didn't work out. Just continue to keep yourself open. Continue to hold your hands open for receiving. Because love does hurt. And I'm definitely not saying that in the sense that people that love you are going to hurt you. I'm saying that, you know, it can be painful when we let people into our hearts and what all of that entails. That someday they will leave us. That's what I was referring to. Well, pile number 3, my heart goes out to you out here on the moon. I hope you can feel it. And I hope you remember that you are full of love, all for yourself too, and that you're deserving of that. I hope this reading finds you out on the moon. I don't really have like a broadcast system to the moon. I don't know if that's like a thing that I can do, but I hope it reaches you all the same. And I hope you are doing well. And I hope that you found this useful. I think I said that already, but if you did, please leave a like and perhaps a comment down below letting me know how you connected with this. If you like what I'm doing and would like to support me, I have a Ko-fi in the description down below, where you can either book a personal reading or donate to me. I also do hand-sewn runes, which you can find out more information about there. Otherwise, if you connected with any of the other cards, then you may go ahead and hop over to those readings now, and I will be seeing you around. Bye. Hello, and welcome to your reading. If you picked pile number 4, then this is your card. I already spoke a bit at the start with the 2 of Swords, so I'm just going to hop right into your card. And we have Great Adventure. Take a risk, venture forward. And again, we're connecting this card in with the question of what blind spot is getting in my way, what blind spot needs to be attended to. So we have here a bunch of folks on a sort of Viking longship? We have the shields and they're rowing. And we have somebody here at the prow, standing proudly. Winds in the sail, they're on their trip, they are taking the risk, they are venturing forward. I've been reading from this book, so I want to go ahead and read this one again. I think I've read this one on this channel again, but I'm going to go for it just because these passages are great. I have forgotten my alphabet. I have to do actually go through the alphabet in my head to remember where I am. Okay. Take a risk, venture forward. At the end of your life, you are more likely to regret the things you didn't do than the things you did do. Take risks. Not every risk enables success, but if you don't try, you'll never know what remarkable experiences were available to you. By stepping out of your comfort zone, you'll discover new talents and abilities. Playing safe in the long run is no safer than venturing forth with glee. To quote Helen Keller, life is either a daring adventure or nothing. The Sacred Traveler wants you to know. Hoist your sails, catch the trade winds of adventure, and enter the open seas. Explore new ports of call. It's easy to stay safe in the harbor, but that's not where the juice of life is. When you sail the open seas without knowing what the day will bring, life force energy is activated within you. There are no guarantees when you take a risk. Be willing to go out on a limb. That's where the best fruit is. When you push yourself beyond your personal boundaries, life is so much more fulfilling. Take a risk and venture forward. All right, so there's the obvious message coming through here of fear of the unknown, fear of what possibilities lie in front of you, and this sense of feeling safe in safe harbors and not really wanting to venture out of that space. I feel like I'm going to need a couple more cards here to really connect with this. As a blind spot, this is the Spacious Tarot, as a blind spot of yours. There's generally, okay, so first off, it's that you may have done a lot to create a space that is safe and nurturing to you. And that has been serving you for some time to maybe get your preparations in order, right? To work on what you have been working on, to really have some space for yourself. And this is a calling, and I'm hearing a continued calling. It's the call of adventure, right? You've heard this before. You've heard this probably from other tarot readers before. The call has been calling, the horns have been sounding, right? Adventure is out there, adventure awaits. And so it is here calling you again. But this is a blind spot. So there's something here, right? There is something that is preventing you from setting sail. Right? Because it's a blind spot, because you're not consciously aware of it. And as blind spots, as I've been tuning into for these readings, these are pervasive ones. These are ones that have followed you for most, if not all, of your life. So this is something that literally is under the surface in dictating what you do. Even if you have an idea, you hear about the great adventure and you're reminded, you're thinking, yes, oh, I do want to do this and that, and I want to explore these things and try these new things out. And you have all these ideas that crop up in your head of what you would love to be doing. And they all sound so great. And you're like, yes, I'm full of fire and spirit. Right? But this is where the blind spot comes in. There is some idea, there is something at your root that is just holding you back. And fear seems like an obvious one, but let's go ahead and check out your cards. We have the Four of Cups. Here we have 4 cups and a waterway that's splitting around them and looks kind of tumultuous. We have the World. And we have the Explorer of Cups. Explorers in this deck, I believe, would be pages. So right out of the gate with the Four of Cups, we're getting some practical advice here. And that's to say that this need not be alone. You need not be doing this alone, right? Especially if you have aspirations of travel, right? You don't have to go single backpacking across Europe. You don't have to go do it on your own right now, especially if you are feeling these fears, right? And you know, especially if you are feeling these fears that are coming from like multiple different sources here, because I'm not getting a clear like one or other of like maybe what is a root cause of this. So I'm seeing that if there are fears that are getting in the way of your great adventure, start smaller and get some support. Go think of something that you could go do with friends and have them come out with you, because that is going to help break down some barriers that you have and to help you understand the probably various things that are making these dreams of yours feel scary and difficult. And you know, some amount of fear is normal and to be expected. But if they freeze you in place, and I'm seeing like this whirlpool here, right? If they freeze you in place where you feel like stuck, like you can't make a move because of those fears, then you know, start small and get some help. I'm sure you might be very delighted to find like how many people share similar aspirations of yours and that would love to join you on some adventures. You don't have to, you know, this captain isn't sailing out on the ship on his own. He's not just doing this. They're not just doing this on their own and unsupported. They have a whole crew behind them, kind of helping steer the venture along. Remember and draw upon the strength of the space and your own situation that you've given yourself, right? Your home, whatever safe space that you've crafted in this world. Draw on the strength of that, but allow that to ground you in your adventures, right? You can always have that space to return to. But, you know, go out and explore. With the Explorer of Cups, literally someone doing like some diving and being curious about what they'll find. This is what's truly going to bring you a lot of joy and passion into your life. And so while a lot of work I feel like has gone into, and I don't know exactly where I'm seeing this, I feel like with the world, a lot of work has gone into like creating your safe space, your safe bubble, that maybe it doesn't feel as fulfilling as you would hope. Maybe it doesn't rejuvenate you as much as you'd hope. And that's because a lot of what lights you up is going to be out there in the world. It's going to be out there on your great adventure. It's not to say that having that space is bad. In fact, you can consider that part of your preparations. Right? To know that you have that space to fall back onto. And I think it's going to be a lot more apparent of like how important that is for your feeling of safety and for a feeling of being prepared in having that space to fall back onto. Because you'll know that you always have your home, whatever that is, to fall back on. I just love the imagery of this. I do see like four friends just sitting on this rock and just like watching the water as it goes by and just like looking around like, wow, how do we get out here? And oh, you know, what are we gonna do to move on from here? Like, not being trapped, but just like kind of just they're in the adventure. They're just in like the next stage of it and just like look around like, how did we even get here? And also like, where are we gonna go next? and just that feeling of awe and wonder, and that sense of exploration. There's not a clear, like I said earlier, there's not really a clear one thing coming through of like, what is the blind spot other than, right, fear. There is fear that is driving this sense of wanting to stay within, wanting to stay in a safe space. But that fear, I feel, has many different sources, and you're not going to become aware of them until you're out there. And that's going to make, it's going to be rocky at times, it's going to be tumultuous at times. Another reason why having support is a great idea. But realize that it's those feelings that already keep you stuck, keep you on shore. Those fears are already doing their work to keep you staying where you are. And you will become more aware of what they are and what they mean to you by going out, right? That is how you illuminate them, because in going out, you're going to be put up into the situations that are your fears, but not to be crushed by them, not to be discouraged by them, but for chances, opportunities to grow through them, to see that they're not as bad as you feared they were, and to see that what lies in the depths is far more exciting and worthwhile and fulfilling than anything that could be achieved without facing these. Now is a better time than any, right? Now is the time to set sail. You have no, this is not about whether it's going to be a successful, wonderful adventure, although success is, defined whether it's a pleasant trip or not, right? It's about going out there. And certainly by going out there, you're going to have some wonderful times. Okay, pile number 4. I think that's about all I have for your reading today. It's a little more straightforward on this one. But I do hope that you have found this useful, and if you have, please do leave a like and perhaps a comment down below to let me know how you have connected with this reading. If you like what I do and would like to support me, I have a Ko-fi in the description where you can either book a personal reading with me or donate to me, or if you so wish, I do make some hand-sewn runes there as well, which you can find out more information about. Otherwise, if you connected with any of the other piles, you can go ahead and hop over to those now. And I will be seeing you around. Bye.